let us move on to my Bears projections for 2023 and talk about what I'm expecting in Justin Fields and is really his second full season as the starter. Much more weapons around him, second year in the Luke Getsy offense. I do think some step forwards will be taken, but some reasons to have some caution flags raised here for the Bears as well. So let's pull you guys in here and talk about what I'm expecting. So no team was run heavier than the Bears last year, and I think something very similar to that in terms of 512 to even maybe 540 rush attempts are potentially on the table. Three interesting running backs in this backfield, in addition to Justin Fields. At minimum, I do expect it to once again be a more rush, one of the very few offenses in the league, even across the last decade, to be more run heavy than pass heavy. They were last year. I expect something similar to be the trend again here for your Chicago Bears after they went for 571 rush attempts last year. Maybe I see a little bit more, 41% pass, 59% rush ratio last year was crazy. I think we do get a little more balance with DJ Moore added, Mooney back, Claypool, they sunk a round 2 pick. One of the dumbest trades you could possibly do. We can talk about that when we get to receivers. I do think with all these new weapons, it makes a little more sense to let's see what Justin Fields can do with his arm. Let's see a little uptick in passing amount, passing production, and scale back the rushing just a little bit as a whole offense. But if they decide to run for another 550 to 570, I wouldn't be shocked at all. This ground pie remains big. I do expect them to again be towards the league bottom in average plays run. I have them spiking for a bit more pass attempts than we saw last year. Again, given those new weapons here, they were only at 393, less than 400 passing attempts last year. I don't expect it to be that pathetic this year. Another 50 to 70, anywhere in that range added just because of the new weaponry is how I see this team being different in 2023 as a whole. So now let's talk about, now you know what the pies look like, how I expect this to be distributed and shared among the teammates here. So rushing's where we'll start just because that's the focus of this offense. And as you can see, 32% rush share for Jalen Hurts last year. I think another 30 with another 140 or so. He had 160 rush attempts last year. I think 154, anywhere between 150 and 170. Seems to make sense to me for Justin Fields. Prolific, was about to break the QB rushing record had he not gotten hurt last year. So big fan of Jalen Hurts. And then it gets really ugly. So I wanted to kind of start with this so we can kind of look at it and move on. Khalil Herbert's supposed to be and projected to be the starter right now and entering camp as the lead back, but they loved Donta Foreman, all the coaching praise, how excited they were to get him in there. They also hand select Roschon Johnson, very intriguing guy, but behind Bijan Robinson his whole college career, but a lot of his metrics are right in line efficiency-wise and yards broken after attempt, and a lot of intriguing traits to Roschon as well. So to me, I see three pretty talented guys in a run-heavy scheme without any of them gaining a ton of clarity. If one of them separates, it's going to be a great ground pie. It's going to be an efficient ground game. You got Justin Fields taking a lot of the defense one way. The running backs will have some nice open lanes to cut back to. But I just think it's going to be so weirdly distributed. Maybe Foreman's more of a goal line guy. Herbert's the between the 20, and Roschon carves out a receiving role. I have no idea, but a three-headed committee is always bad. A three-headed committee in an offense that's projected to be one among the lowest in terms of scoring and total plays run gets a little uglier, even more so. And then you also mix in the fact that 30% of the pie is going to the quarterback. Great goal line vulture there as well. So that's the most intriguing rusher on this team, in my opinion, is Justin Fields going for 1,000 yards yet again, 8 or so touchdowns yet again. You're right, last year was 7.1 yards a clip. I don't think that changes. So much of what he does is, especially with them having to account for DJ Moore and some of these weapons downfield, he's going to have some very open rushing lanes. And you saw last year, Lamar Jackson style, the way this guy can knife through defenses. He's a beast at the stripe as well. Tall, uses that big body. So I definitely think some nice, strong rushing from Justin Fields this year. So 1,000 yards through the ground with everybody else here. Khalil Herbert, 823 and 5, 563 and 6 for Donta Foreman. Roschon getting the short end of the stick in my projections. But again, he has the talent to definitely end up being the lead guy here. I just don't know if any of those guys are ultimately consistent or valuable enough in redraft. A handful of spike weeks here and there make them viable at their low round, 12th round for Herbert and 15th round for Foreman. Roshan's the one I'm avoiding. He's right after Khalil Herbert, like around 13, 14. To me, I think Foreman outproduces him and goes a round or two later. So if I'm getting a Bears back, which isn't very often, it's either Herbert at his round 12 price, Foreman has around 14 to 15 price tag. Gibbon, I think he could definitely be a touchdown beast there. But I'm not going out of my way to get any of these backs, but I am going on my way to get Justin Fields again. Should be the lead rusher on this team while taking a big step forward. Now, he didn't even throw for 3,000 passing yards last year, but I think a nice Jalen Hurts level next up could very much be in store for Justin Fields. Going, about 400 to 500 more passing yards. I think DJ Moore, healthy Darnell Mooney, and then if Claypool can show any signs of life, that's not a huge jump for Justin Fields. He really could get closer to 4K if this is a Jalen Hurts style leap. I don't know that he's a Jalen Hurts level passer quite yet, though. So I wanted to be a little bit more conservative with him, even with the weapons boost. But I think a big spike in touchdowns after being under 20 last year, going to 25, and again, being under 3K yards last year, getting bumped up now to 3,400, 3,500 or so, seems to make sense for Justin Fields. And with that rushing work, that would definitely put him right in line for a top 5 quarterback season. I love where he's going in like mid round 5 right now. He's sometimes falling to. I think it's a great spot to snag this guy. So I like Justin Fields quite a bit. Now, in terms of his receivers and how that passing game, so already right away you can see it's not a big aerial pie I'm projecting. We just went from a 5K Kirk Cousins to now a 3,300 Justin Fields with less touchdowns as well. So even if I have DJ Moore going for 26%, and I thought I liked DJ Moore more than he ended up getting statted out here. As a player, I've always really liked him, but I just don't know if there will be enough aerial pie for him to really pay off that early 4th, mid 4th price tag that we're seeing right now. I think he's going to be a guy that takes a little bit of a fall in my rankings just because I still project him very highly. 26% target share, good catch rate, good efficiency, good touchdown rate. And even then, I just think the aerial pie might not be big enough for a huge season. Now, 77, 962, and 7, yeah, that's not a bad season. That's certainly a quality I'd say a mid-range wide receiver too, is that's where you're kind of looking at there. And at his 4th round price tag, I think you're looking for a little bit more high-end wide receiver to a K and 8 with 85 catches or so. But still a pretty good season for DJ Moore. And all the reports are these two are synced up. They're like best friends. So if that ended up being like a 30%, a Devontae Adams style target share, and we get to 150 targets and 85 to 90 receptions and well over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, that's within the ceiling for DJ Moore. Absolutely. If this rapport and all of the beat writers, the opposing defense, it's 1 to 2, and DJ Moore being number 2 and Justin Fields being 1. Apparently they are just connecting nonstop in red zone and 2-minute no huddle offense, all that good stuff. So I could definitely see DJ Moore beating this projection out, but it would require either A, the team is a lot pass happier than I'm projecting, or B, he just gets a 30% slice. Within the realm of possibility, but I thought this seemed like a nice, fair middle ground there. I love Darnell Mooney as a player. He's, in his past few years, been the anchor of this pass game, 25 and 26% target share in his last 2 seasons. The 2 years ago, that was a much pass happier attack. It was not. Justin Fields played for about half the season, but we saw 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns for Darnell Mooney. I actually think this move to the secondary role could be a boon for him. We won't see 1,000 yards, but I do think he can eat up number 2 corners, stretch this defense. Justin Fields does have himself a nice deep ball. So I think he returns in a solid fashion right now where he's going. Pretty fair price tag. I guess I did project KJ Osborne for better stats, and he goes even later than Darnell Mooney. But I like Mooney. I think he's a great player. I really, really think he's a wonderful number 2 for this offense. So maybe this passing game does take a bigger step when you think about the trickle-down effect of a DJ Moore hogging number 1 attention, Mooney now feasting on number 2s. And if Claypool could have any kind of spine, I mean, I hate that guy. I think he's a loser. So I don't expect him to have a spine, as you can see by these projections, only warranting himself 11% share. And even with that, not doing a whole ton of consistent work. I don't love Claypool. 416, 3 touchdowns, 32 catches. That's not going to get you there. But Mooney, 7-10-4, probably 2 or 3 huge weeks with a smattering of some really big duds. But definitely, again, I keep saying I like him better in best ball. I think he's the type of player that you might not want in your yearly leagues outside of a random flex that could boom for you. I like him in best ball, though, because I do think you're going to get some 20, 25-point weeks out of Darnell Mooney with some big spikes. And then last couple guys to talk about in this passing game, I'm intrigued by Tyler Scott, especially with Mooney and Claypool as free agents. So dynasty-wise, I think Scott's a really intriguing asset. I just don't see enough volume as a whole offense to sustain more than two receivers, really, but certainly not the fourth receiver here. So he's not a guy I'm going out of my way to draft and redraft, but maybe in Dynasty, somebody that I think is falling a little far because I'd like the player a lot. I think Tyler Scott, if he beats out Claypool, wouldn't be shocked at all, but I just still don't even think the third receiver here is all that valuable. But I do expect Kmet to have himself another good season, finishing with 7 touchdowns last year, kind of emerge a 19% target share as the wide receiver one. I think with DJ Moore, Mooney healthy, I think that trickles down to about a 17% target share, 79 total targets, a little bit below what he saw last year, but still think similar efficiency. So steps backwards in yards and touchdowns just because the volume takes it's a little bit of a hit here. But as a player, I like Kmet and definitely could see him being he's just kind of in that lump of okay tight ends that you hope they spike for a touchdown. Tight end, 10 through 16, very similar. He's part of that mold and projects very similarly to some of those guys, is where I expect Kmet to be. But the big takeaways, again, ugly backfield. Don't love any of them, but they are cheap enough at their price tags and talented enough players that if one did truly emerge, they could be great plays. So I do still invest in it, even though I don't project it to be all that great of a situation on the off chance somebody takes over. I project more very highly in terms of the slice he gets of this pie, 26% slice, but with it being such a small pie, I don't know that that ultimately pays off the price tag you're getting for him. Mooney, an intriguing player, but the real highlight, of course, here is Justin Fields with the 1,000+ yard upside on the ground, with the 35+ 100-yard upside for Justin Fields as well. And if he does really spike as a passer, he could approach that Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields tier, Josh Allen rather tier. If we can get this to like a 4K and 30 type of situation, everybody's saying how he's at the next level and the offense is just flowing so much faster through him. Maybe we saw this with Josh Allen. He was under 4K passer and then exploded for 4,500 yards. I think the play caller was better there, though. I think Josh Allen's just a better player than Justin Fields. But there is that realm of possibility. And even if he doesn't, if this is his floor that I'm projecting him for, still a nice top 5 floor with some huge spike weeks built into there when he runs for 200 yards type of games. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.